or is assembled. Lord Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. So you'll speak in Hindi or English? So English में बोले? हाँ, sure, okay. You have the sloka on the board? What is the sloka number? 1. Okay. So I'm supposed to take 5 slokas today. So let us see how it goes. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 21, Text number 1. Shri Shuka Uvacha Itham Sarasvachajalam Padmakara Sugandhina Nyavishad Vayunavatam Sago Gopalakochutaha. We just go to the next sloka. We'll repeat 5, text number 5. We'll just go to that sloka. Kusumi Tavanaraji Shushmi Bringa Dvijakula Kushta Sara Saren Mahindram Madhupati Ravagaya Charayan Gaha Saha Pashupala Balaschukuja Venum Tadvrajastriya Ashrutya Venugetam Smarodayam Kaschit Paroksham Krishnasya Svasakhibhyon Vavarnayan Tadvarnai Tumarabdha Smarantya Krishna Cheshtitam Nashakan Smaravegena Vikshipta Manaso Nripa. So 5th sloka. Barhapidam Natavaravapu Karnayo Karnikaram Bibradvasa Kanakakapisham Vaijayantim Chamalam Randranveno Radhara Sudaya Purayan Gopavrindair Vrindaranyam स्वपदरमणं प्राविशद्गीतकीर्ति बर्हापीडं नटवरवपु कर्णयो कर्णिकारम् बिभ्रद्वास कनककपिशं वैजयन्तीं च मालाम् रन्ध्रान्वेणोरधरसुधया पूरयन् गोपवृन्दैर् वृन्दारण्यं स्वपदरमणं प्राविशद्गीतकीर्ति Anybody wants? Varhapidam natavarapu karnayo karnikaram Jayantim Chamalam Sudaya Purayan Gopa Vrinde Vrindavan Sapadaramanam Pravishagita Kirti Apiyam Natavarapu Matajis. So, we read the synonyms. Barha, a peacock feather. Apidam, as the decoration of his hand. Natavara, of the best of dancers. Vapu, the transcendental body. Karnayo, on the ears. Karnikaram, a particular kind of blue lotus-like flower. Bibrat, wearing. Vasaha, garments. Kanaka, like gold, Kapisam, yellowish, Vaijayantim, named Vaijayanti, Cha, and Malam, the garland, Randran, the holes, Venu, of his flute, Adhara, of his lips, Sudhaya, with the nectar, Apurayan, filling up, Gopavrindai, by the cowherd boys, Vrinda, Aranyam, Vrindaranyam, the forest of Vrindavan, Swapada, because of the marks of his lotus feet, Ramanam, enchanting, Pravishat, he entered, Gita, being sung, Kirtihi, his glories. We'll read the translation from text number 1 onwards. Sukadeva Goswami said, thus the Vrindavan forest was filled with transparent autumnal waters and cooled by breezes, perfumed with the fragrance of lotus flowers growing in the clear lakes. The infallible Lord, accompanied by his cows and cowherd boy friends, entered that Vrindavan forest. Number 2, the lakes, rivers and hills of Vrindavan resounded with the sounds of maddened bees and flocks of birds moving about the flowering trees in the company of the cowherd boys and Balaram. Madhupati Shri Krishna entered that forest, and while herding the cows, he began to vibrate his flute. The one-line purport. As suggested by the words Chukuja Venum, Lord Krishna skillfully blended the sound of his flute with the lovely sounds of Vrindavan's multicolored birds. Thus an irresistible heavenly vibration was created. Text number 3. When the young ladies in the cowherd village of Vraj heard the song of Krishna's flute, which arouses the influence of Cupid, some of them privately began describing Krishna's qualities to their intimate friends. Text number 4. The cowherd girls began to speak about Krishna, but when they remembered his activities, O king, the power of Cupid disturbed their minds, and thus they could not speak. And today's verse, wearing a peacock feather ornament upon his head, blue karnikar flowers on his ears, a yellow garment as brilliant as gold, and Vaijayanti garland, Lord Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest of dancers as he entered the forest of Vrindavan, beautifying it with the marks of his footprints. He filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and the cowherd boys sang his glories. Purport. Maybe you can repeat this translation of text number 5. Wearing a peacock feather ornament upon his head, blue karnikar flowers on his ears, a yellow garment as brilliant as gold, and the Vaijayanti garland, Lord Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest of dancers as he entered the forest of Vrindavan, beautifying it with the marks of his footprints. He filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and the cowherd boys sang his glories. Purport. The gopis remembered all the transcendental qualities of Krishna mentioned in this verse. Krishna's artful way of dressing and the beautiful blue flowers placed over his ears excited the gopis' romantic desires. And as he poured the nectar of his lips into his flute, they simply lost themselves in ecstatic love for him. Om Agyan Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Thapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dati Swapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. This is the nectar we are hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam. Is that my voice audible backside? Okay. So this is very famous sloka, what we are reciting today. The two selected verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. One of this is the text number 5, what we were singing today. This verse can be sung in different melodies. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami was expert in singing all these different slokas in different melodies. One sloka he can sing in 4 or 5 different melodies. So, this particular sloka is describing the beautiful form of Krishna. So this is the sloka which attracted Shukadeva Goswami to come out of the womb of his mother. So, and the second one was Aho Bakiyam Stanakala Kutam. The second verse was Aho Bakiyam, the glories of Krishna's mercy. So one is Krishna's beautiful form, the second is Krishna's wonderful quality of his mercy. And as soon as he heard these two slokas, Shukadeva Goswami could not resist himself inside the womb and he just came out. So, this chapter is entitled with the gopis glorify the song of Krishna's flute. And just before this, I'm sorry, can you just take this? Take this. And just before this, we were discussing the description of autumn. This is very special season. There are different seasons, and out of them, like 6 seasons are there. And out of them, Krishna has different pastime for different seasons. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he appeared, he brought all the season at one place. You know that place called Ritudvipa. Ritudvipa in 9 islands. All the seasons at one place. But here, the description is autumn is so enlivening because it is clearing the lakes and the muddy areas, and it's very soothing and it's very appreciated by everybody, especially in Vrindavan. And like 2 seasons, everybody likes, like March, April, that is called spring. So Lord Ramchandra appeared that time. So the Chaitra Mas. So it's no cold and no hot. So it's a good temperature. Everybody enjoys it. The same way, this season of autumn is also enjoyable. It's no more rain, and still it is not a winter. So it's a cooling atmosphere. So Krishna liked that particular season. So Sukadeva Goswami specifically now is going to describe the different pastimes which were exhibited in the season of autumn, in this autumn. So he is beginning his pastime with the Venu Gita call. This is glorifying Krishna's flute. Venu Gita. So now this pastimes, this description, what we are reading today, this description was happened in the month of October, like before Damodar Mas. I mean, in the same time, like month of Damodar, autumn season. Yeah. So, Sukadeva Goswami, he is so much ecstatic while giving this description, and he was very eager and very excited to speak about the glories of Krishna. And he wanted to speak about Venu Gita. He wanted to speak about the glories of Venu. But in this chapter, he did not speak much on that. This is the title, song. The Gopis glorify the song of Krishna's flute. But he doesn't start the chapter with that, because he is keeping this particular part, which is the cream of the chapter, where Krishna is playing flute. That particular part he is keeping to be disclosed at the end of the chapter. Yeah. So this is the way of describing the pastime. Yeah. So when there is something very nectarian, something very relishable, so Sukadeva Goswami wants to prepare our mind to come to that part. Yeah. So Srimad Bhagavatam is actually made in that way. First canto, second canto, third canto, everybody wants to hear the 10th canto, Krishna's pastimes. Like Vyasadeva, when he was describing the first canto, he was very eager to talk about 10th canto. But because this is not the way to explain, because we have to go through the lotus feet of the Lord. So the first canto, second canto considered to be the lotus feet of the Lord. And also he wanted to prepare the readers so that they can understand a bit of 10th canto. But he could not stop himself, so he started glorifying Krishna in the first verse itself. Janmadhyasya yata. He started glorifying in the first verse only. So our acharyas have given different meaning of the first sloka of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Krishna Lila is mentioned. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur took around 3 months in Bangladesh on that first sloka. So the point here is Shukadeva Goswami was very excited to talk about the glories, but he wanted to keep it at the later part of this chapter. So generally this is the way of a good teacher, that when you want to explain the most realizable part of the chapter or the subject, then keep the subject gradually coming to that point, or to prepare the readers in that line. So it is mentioned in Siddha Bhakta Chintamani that there are 2 kinds of hearing. One is purposeful hearing, and second is incidental hearing. The purposeful hearing is we want to hear it in a right place, with the right devotees and with the right mood. That's a purposeful hearing, or it is something like to relish it into full. That's purposeful hearing. And the second one is incidental hearing. That is for sadhakas like us. The earlier one was for the elevated personalities like Sukadeva Goswami, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was hearing different pastimes from Ramananda Roy. So that was purposeful hearing. But incidental hearing, that's what we are going through right now. Different subject. The sadhakas, they are supposed to hear the glories of Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada didn't mention much about the intimate pastimes of Krishna. You might not see anywhere much about Krishna. Srila Prabhupada is talking on Gopis' pastimes or Manjari's pastimes. You might not have seen or heard anywhere, right? Because even in Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada says that the spontaneous devotional service is not to be discussed, because it is spontaneous. So it's not to be discussed, and there is nothing much to discuss. Somebody was discussing me this question, so he was going into detail. I said, this is spontaneous. Prabhupada says this is spontaneous. So let it be spontaneous. Why you want to plan it? Let it be spontaneous. So Srila Prabhupada wanted that devotees should understand the pastimes of Krishna with the science and with the philosophy. That one should hear with. Why? You see that there are different books of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. There are 3 major books of Chaitanya Leela. One of them is Chaitanya Charitamrita, second is Chaitanya Bhagavad, and third is Chaitanya Mangal. But the highest philosophical descriptions are given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Srila Prabhupada selected that book to translate into English, because that is the cream part. So while hearing the philosophy, when you hear Krishna's glories in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, we get submissions to the concentration. Because the concentration will be more submissive. Because until you understand the glories of Krishna, Krishna is great, but how great He is, if we don't know how great He is, we will not be able to appreciate the pastimes narrated by Sukadeva Goswami. And we might get victim of take it cheaply. Oh, such a beautiful description of Vrindavan. Wow. Once one devotee went to Srila Prabhupada, and he went to Srila Prabhupada, he said that Prabhupada, one of his disciples, he said that Prabhupada, I just want to get the meaning of one sloka. Maybe you can explain it nicely. So I came to you. So Prabhupada said, yes. What's that? Nikunja yuno ratikeli siddhaye yayali bhir yukti rapikshaniya tatratri dakshat ativallabhasya vande guru Sri Charanarvindam. And he was expecting that Prabhupada will be talking about, that the spiritual master is as good as Manjari and he is assisting the gopis, and he was expecting that Srila Prabhupada would say something about Vrindavan pastimes or something like that. And he was very eager and he was with open ears, he was just very excited to hear from Prabhupada, and Prabhupada simply said, oh, that is very simple. The meaning of the sloka is very simple. You just take the books, go out on the street and distribute them. Prabhupada said that you just take the books. And then he was like, so this is for sadhakas. So Prabhupada was very clear. One devotee came to Srila Prabhupada. He was in the dark complexion. He was some African devotee. So he said, Prabhupada, I heard Krishna looks black. Krishna is black. And Prabhupada said, yeah, he is black but not like you. So then Prabhupada said, he is bluish black. He is Shyam Sundar. So this is what happened. One Mataji, one Prabhupada disciple came to Srila Prabhupada. And then she asked Prabhupada that by the description of Vrindavan, it looks like Krishna must be very lusty boy, right? Krishna must be very lusty. Prabhupada said, yes, he is lusty, but he is unlimited lusty. You cannot become, even though you want to become unlimited. Krishna is unlimited in everything. He is cheater unlimitedly. He is lusty unlimitedly. He is great unlimitedly. He is pure unlimitedly. So, nothing is impossible for him to become lusty unlimitedly. So this is what happens when we don't understand Krishna's qualities or science. We must understand how great, that personality, the Supreme Lord Himself. So, the Krishna's pastimes are described in this sloka. Actually, we have the 5 slokas and we have just some few more minutes. So, we might take maybe one sloka superficially and then 5th sloka and whatever. So, because when there is a description, is always touching to the heart. Shukadeva Goswami is expert narrator because he is a Kirtana Sreshta Bhakta, right? Parikshit is a Sravana Sreshta and Shukadeva Goswami is a Kirtana Sreshta. A Kirtana Sreshta means his narration must be very accurate and very relishing. So he is saying, Itham Sharat Swachha Jalam Padma Kara Sugandhina Nyavishad Vayuna Vatam Sa Gopa Gopala Kochuda. The first sloka. So he is starting his narration by Krishna's entering into the forest of Vrindavan. The Vrindavan forest was filled with the transparent autumnal water. Mainly here, what the description in the first sloka is Jalam. What is that? Sharat. What Itham? Itham means what I have described in the last chapter. That is Itham. Sharat. We have already talked about in this earlier chapter, and now because of that the water is very clean. The Vrindavan water was not only clean, there are three different qualities of water given in this. Three qualities of water of Vrindavan. One of them is it was very clean. Clean means everybody liked the water to be clean, for even it looks very good. That's why we have Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Because we want Ganges to be very clean. Our Prime Minister wants. The water must be clean, otherwise it cannot. Krishna says, Raso Vaisaha. I mean, Rasoham aptu Kaunteya. Krishna is the taste of water. So one is clean, second is taste. It should be madhur. Something one can drink, like, we cannot drink any water other than river or clean water. And the third one is, what is the third one? Here it is mentioned. Two qualities are mentioned: Swachha and clean, Madhura. Also, the Vrindavan forest is full of water. Why? Because you might see that all the places in Vrindavan or in different parts, they are filled with different kundas and lakes. So, actually Krishna wanted lotus everywhere, but lotus does not grow on the land, right? It grows in the water, and Krishna likes water body. So Krishna made water so many places, so many lakes, so many rivers, so many lakes, so many ponds, so many kundas. Right? And they were all full of lotus. All full of lotus. It's considered, we can say it's a treasure of lotus. Everywhere there are lotus. Everywhere. Padma Kara Sugandhina. Because there are so many lotus around, the wind, the breeze is coming, carrying the aroma of lotus. So there are three qualities of breeze also. What is that? One is carrying the aroma of different flowers. Generally when you sit, everybody likes, when the cool breeze is there. The breeze should be very cool. Should not be that cool that you feel shivering, so it should be less cool. So it's pleasant. That's one quality. Second quality, that it should not be with the speed, that, you can just, it's too much now, it's extreme. Nobody likes that, it should be coming in a, very little, slow, in a manda. The speed of wind should be very slow. So one is, it should be not hot, it should be little cool, pleasant. Second, it should be manda, it should not come with the force. And the third is, it should be carrying aroma. So these three qualities of bridge is mentioned. And Krishna, you wanted this. So the description is given here that the lakes were filled with the lotus, and the aroma of those lotus would be carried by the wind or the breeze coming to Krishna, and it was very pleasant to Krishna. So, and here, and what the next one is, Vatam. Vatam means manda. This Padmakara Sugandhina, Vayunam Vatam. Vatam means manda. Singular, it's not plural. Vatam. And so Go Gopala Kochuta. Go Gopalak Achyuta. Krishna was accompanied by his cows and his cowherd boyfriends, including Balaram. is not mentioned here, but Balaram was there with him while he was going there. Yeah. So, Gopala Achyuta. Achyuta means, of course, the word-to-word translation is the infallible, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Achyuta. Yeah. And what does that Achyuta mean? That Krishna, he never fails to enjoy the beautiful atmosphere of Vrindavan. No. He never fails. When he sees this is such a beautiful atmosphere, clean water, very cool breeze, and it's such a nice, full of trees and colorful birds, and the description goes on further. So Krishna, he does not miss to enjoy this glory, the atmosphere. The second sloka, maybe we can go a bit faster. The second sloka says, the lake, rivers and hills of Vrindavan, there are many hills also. One of them is Govardhan, and there are many other, like Charan Pahadi. There are many Charan Pahadis. The lakes, rivers and hills of Vrindavan were resounded with the sounds of maddened bees. Just maddened bees. And the flocks of birds. Not only that, there are beautiful singing of cuckoos. Beautiful, when we hear the description of Vrindavan, the beautiful birds there. And generally the nature of cuckoos is that they say, "Woo!" and that the other one is sitting, far, and she will answer from that direction, "Coo!" from this distance, and they say, "Yes, one is here, the other one is the other." But when Krishna Balaram was moving around, what they used to do, the one bird will say, "Coo!" and the Krishna will imitate, "Coo!" and then the bird was like, where is he coming from? Who is this? Who is this? So Krishna was enjoying this atmosphere of Vrindavan with so many birds, and so the flocks of birds moving about the flowering trees. Here is mentioned the flowering trees. The trees were very rich with the flowers and fruits, and they have all multi-varieties, multicolored flowers, and they were bending down, because of, and when we call it Madhuvan, Talvan, Kumudvan, Kamyavan, Mahavan, what does one means? Vana. Vana means one is never without trees. When the group of trees are there, that's called one. When there are groups of trees, it's not group of trees, but it's full of trees. That's called one. So Krishna is entering into the forest. The forest means it must be full of trees. So there are so many wonderful trees, and once Krishna was saying to Balaram, all these trees must be looking like they were impersonalists in the last birth. So they are just here trying to serve you in very peaceful way. And all the birds, they must be yogis in their past lives. So they are also singing, sitting down very peacefully and not doing much. But the honeybees, they must be your great devotees because they are singing and following you. So here, the maddened bees, they were making sound, they're making sounds. But of course, our sound is, it's a noise. But when they sing, when they sing, it's like singing a song. So, and the birds were also multicolors. Prabhupada said somewhere, I think in this purport only, he said birds were multicolors. In the company of cowherd boys and Balaram, Prabhupada says here, in the translation, in the company of cowherd boys and Balaram, Madhupati entered the forest, and while herding the cows, he began to vibrate his flute. So Krishna entered the forest with Krishna, his friends and Balaram, and Krishna is called here Madhupati. So Madhupati is Krishna. He was actually coming from the Kshatriya dynasty like Vasudeva, but because he accepted the service or the role of Vaishyas, so he was Pashupal. He was Pashupalam, herding the cows. Here the word is there. Madhupati Ravagaya Charayan Gaha Saha Pashupala. The word is here, Pashupala. Pashupala means he is so kind that he is for his devotees and for the pleasure of Vrindavan and for, of course, his own pleasure. He accepted the role of Pashupala. Pashupala means not only cows, there must be other animals also. Otherwise it must be Gopal, but here it is mentioned Pashupal. Go and Pashupal, both. So, Sa Pashupala Balas Chukuj Venum. Chukuj Venum, he played his flute. So there are many other meanings of Madhupati. The Madhu, our Goswamis have given. This was mentioned by Jiva Goswami that Krishna, even though he is his ancestors were in Yadu dynasty, but he is doing this. But the other meanings of Madhupati is Krishna. He enters in Vrindavan forest in spring at the same, and although in the autumn. So he is the master of all the seasons. And also there is Madhu means sweet. There are many different meaning of Madhu. There was one pastime in Prem Sarovar, I think Prem Sarovar or Chandra Sarovar. Krishna was, somebody said the Madhu has gone. The Madhu is also bee. So the bee was disturbing Srimati Radharani, and one of Krishna's friends said, "Oh, that Madhu has gone," and everybody thought Krishna has gone. So like there are different pastimes connected with Madhu. So Krishna started playing his flute. So this flute is also not ordinary. Krishna was playing the flute, and the flute was made of bamboo stick. So sometime it is mentioned, one she Priya Sakhi, Shriya Kanta Kanta Paramapurusha Kalpatarabhu Drumabhumish Chintamani Ganamaitoyam Amritam Katha Ganam Natyam Gamanam Api Vanshi Priya Sakhi. Vanshi Priya Sakhi Why Vansi is Priya Sakhi? Because it is not only attracting the gopis, but it is attracting all the varieties of devotees, including trees, animals, birds, and everybody. Therefore, it is the most attractive for all the Brajvasis, and therefore it is Krishna's own Sakhi. Yeah. And therefore Krishna, he plays, when he touches his flute, so there are three things happen, The Krishna, he touches, as soon as he touches the holes with his hands. So, because sometimes flute is criticized, oh, you have so many holes with you. The gopis used to criticize, oh, you have so many holes. And Krishna filled them. Krishna said, okay, I filled them, now there are no more holes. So because I touched, that she became enlivened. She became enlivened. Like, oh, I am ready to serve you, master. She became enlivened. And then Krishna touched his lips, and the reddishness of his lips automatically it spread and over the flute. As soon as he, the reddishness spread out to the entire flute. In the same way, when Krishna is playing his conch shells, the reddishness of his lips, it spread out in the conch shell. That is Krishna's transcendental quality. And because it is touching Krishna's lips and hands, it has the capacity or ability to madden the three worlds. So, third thing, Krishna is empowering the flutes, at the flute what is playing. So there are different such descriptions are there, but we couldn't even go to the fifth sloka, so we just give the summary of this text number 5. Barhapidam Natavara Vapu. Barhapidam means Krishna was not having many ornaments and so many, only simple, forest decoration or, peacock feather. Barhapidam. Natavara Vapu. Natavara means he is dancing. He is expert in dance. Nata. Vara. Vapu. And Vara means also the one who is going to marry, groom. Vara. When a groom is decorated beautifully, he is just about to marry. So Krishna he decorated himself, as if like he is a groom, he is supposed to go get married. So generally, that boy looks very handsome when he is, decorated like going to get married, and also, that is the day of his life. So, but he is, so Krishna is Natavara Vapu, Karaniyo Karnakaram. Karaniyo Karnakaram means, Prabhupada is translating Karaniyo Karnakaram as the blue colored flower. So, some say that Krishna was keeping blue flowers on both these ears. Some say that sometime on the left, sometime on the right. So why all this description? Because Krishna is full of youth. So he likes to keep changing all the time. He wants to keep sometime on this, sometime on that, sometime blue, sometime yellow. Yellow color. Because blue color, Krishna also having his own color is blue. So, and yellow is also resembling the Tapta Kanchani. So, Radharani. So, sometimes he keeps yellow, sometimes he keeps blue. So, Karniyo Karnakaram, Bibradvasa, Kanaka Kapisha. Bibradvasa means is wearing what? garments, vasa. Which color? Golden, yellow. Pita vasana vanamali. Chandana charchita, Neela kalevara, Pita vasana vanamali. So he is wearing yellow garments, Kanaka Kapisham, Vaijayantim Chamalam. Vaijayanti means a very special garland, Vaijayanti. Like Matajis are making garlands every day, right? And Radharas Bihari, they are accepting their services, they are offering their devotion, and they are multicolor, like you see that white, red and yellow. And what else? And pink. There are 4 colors in this garland. Vaijayanti is 5 colors garland. There are 5 colors in Vaijayanti garland because it is made of 5 different things. That's why one is tulasi. So mothers are requested to make Vaijayanti if they can get such flowers. One is tulasi, then mandar, the kunda, tulasi, kunda, kunda flower, mandar flower, and parijat flower, and what is the 5th one? Lotus. So that is Vaijayanti. So this is very special. Krishna likes that, Vaijayanti Mala. And why it is called Vaijayanti? Because it is glorifying Krishna's sweetness. It is giving Vijay. Vijay means, victory over what? On all other sweetness. Krishna is the most sweet, is the sweetest. So Vaijayanti means glorifying Krishna's sweetness. So Vaijayanti Malam. Randhran Venur Adhar Sudhaya Purayan Gopa Vrindair. So actually before this sloka it was mentioned that the gopis they wanted to describe, but because of their ecstasy they could not say anything. They couldn't say anything. Their throat was choked. Then Shukadeva Goswami, because he was very intimately associated and he relished this earlier, then he understood what they wanted to say. Then Shukadeva Goswami started this narration by himself. This Samacharya says that. So, Prabhupada in translation, he says that gopis remember all the transcendental qualities of Krishna mentioned in this verse. So this is their day-to-day business, to discuss and to talk and to hear about the transcendental qualities of Krishna. And in first canto, Srila Prabhupada says many times that Srotavya Kirtitavyascha Jaya Pujaschya Nityada Tasmad Ekana Manasa Bhagwan Satvatampati. So when you keep on hearing the glories and the different qualities of Krishna, and you don't do anything else, you just simply hear them, everything, vidunoti surastatam, all the dirt within the heart will be totally washed away. All this kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mad, everything will be cleansed out. So the more you hear, the more spiritually established we are. Just imagine, actually, what is the greatest thing to be done at the perfectional stage of devotional service? To hear. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent entire nights with Ramananda Roy discussing about this only. The hearing. That is the perfectional stage. Of course, because we are sadhakas, we must, because our capacity, yesterday we were talking, our capacity of hearing, the mental capacity is not so, that's called hearing stamina is not so good. Yeah. Like if we say that, okay, today we are going to speak for like 4 or 5 hours. 4 or 5 hours. 1 hour, like we just prone to, we get that, And sometimes we are so much, mind is so restless, we just see here and there, who is that devotee doing, what the garland is there, oh, okay, this decoration was good, like this. So we just keep on seeing here and there because our mind cannot focus on that. So somebody asked me this question, that why is this? I said because there is a lack of faith and respect. So, because we don't have faith in Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we hear the narration and the description with faith, generally, what are the steps when you approach spiritual master? How you can become sincere disciple? It is only possible when you have faith in your spiritual master. And that faith, I do have faith in my spiritual master. But no, not that faith. The faith should be, faith is a reflection of your love. The other way. The love is the reflection of your faith. What love you have in your heart for your spiritual master, the love is second. First comes faith, then it comes obedience. Then you become obedience to him. Because you have faith on him, so you listen to whatever he says. He says that, go and distribute books like Prabhupada said. And if you do that, you're successful. Once somebody asked, one of the Prabhupada disciples, and he asked that, why it is there that in the first generation after Prabhupada, all Prabhupada disciples, they are so powerful and they are so strong in their devotional service. And each one can, change the entire face of the world. They are so much empowered. How it is possible in such a short period? Then the Maharaj said that, the question was asked to one person, as in Maharaj said, it's only about the dedication of the disciples towards the instruction of Srila Prabhupada. And it's not something rocket science, you can also do that. You can also become that way. The only thing required is faith and obedience, and it will be cultivating the love within the heart. And when you have love for your spiritual master, so you are ready to dedicate everything for him. So that love is required to be, awakened within the heart. And that love is the key of going to the forest of Vrindavan. If anybody wants to go in the forest of Vrindavan, which are described here, the beginning stage is to develop the love for the spiritual master, and that is the key. That is the entire formula. That is the secret formula of the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness. And when you get yourself trained in that, and when your activities will reflect the way you are serving. So we are supposed to hear the glories by hearing again and again. We should develop the faith and love for the spiritual master. And then this beautiful description, we have just hardly touched the certain few words of the slokas, but such a beautiful and transcendental and relishing narration of Vrindavan forest. Who doesn't like to hear? It's so soothing. So let us prepare ourselves with the consciousness, and we should hear more about the glories of Krishna, and then we can understand the sweetness of Krishna. First called Nam, the first thing what we learn is Nama, holy name. Then we get the form, and then the qualities, step by step realization, and then we get to the pastime. So let us start with the name. So we should chant our holy name properly and maintain our sadhana very strong. So thank you for hearing this out. Please forgive me for not be able to cover entire subject matter, but the 5 beautiful slokas. So we can stop now. Sorry for taking a little longer today. So give any question or comment?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank
Yes.
you for a wonderful class. Well, my question is, Shukdev Goswami, he got attracted upon hearing these 2 verses, and we know that he is a personal parrot of Srimati Radharani. So why is it that it is explained that he was established in impersonal conception?
Yeah.
So how is that he is a Nitya Siddha, he heard Bhagavatam from Lord Shiva and then came running and
Yes. So
Bhagavatam.
I asked a similar question to His Grace Jananivas Prabhu when I was in Mayapur. Same question, I think. Similar. And he said that when devotees of the Lord who are Nitya Siddhas, if they appear on this world, so Krishna by his Yogamaya, he does not allow them to remember what they were in the past. So all the Parshadas, all the associates of the Lord, they do not know who they were in the past. Only when they can know only when Krishna allow them or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu allow them. Then only they can understand. So Sukadeva Goswami, even though he was being direct servant of Srimati Radharani, but because he appeared here, he wanted to glorify the qualities of Krishna. So therefore, Sukadeva Goswami took the side of impersonal, Brahmavadi. He took the side of Brahmavadi. He took the position of Brahmavadi. So there are some different stories, kathas are there. There was some reason behind why Sukadeva Goswami he took the Brahmavadi part, but the main part to be understood is that it was the glorification of Krishna's qualities. So Sukadeva Goswami, he appeared by the desire of Krishna to be Brahmavadi, and then he got attracted by these 2 wonderful slokas, and it was nothing new for him, rather he was already devotee. But when he got to know this, and his devotional service went to the highest, like Mahabhagavata.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. More question or comments? Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
I just want to know the difference between the Brahmavadi and Mayavadi philosophy, because often the words are interchanged.
Yeah.
Adi Shankaracharya is called as Mayavadi, and here the impersonal conception is common in both. So what exactly the difference is?
Yeah. There are 4 kinds of Brahmavadi. 2 of them is Mayavadi and 2 of them are Brahmavadi. 4 kinds of Brahmavadi. One of them is the one who he doesn't want to, he does not offend Krishna's form, but at the same time he is more into getting liberation. He is satisfied with the liberation only. He doesn't want anything else. So he just wants liberation, So that is one kind of Mayavadi. Then the other one is those who are they don't offend the form. This is the second one. They don't offend the form, but they also fearful of the forms because of their experience in material world. They think that the form will unnecessarily bring Maya into them, so they try to avoid themselves from the form. Yeah. So these two kinds of impersonalist, Brahmavadi, one of them, as I said, they are fearful of the form. Okay, I got this point here. One is Sukadeva Goswami is a Brahmavadi, and four Kumaras and all. So these Brahmavadis were, they, as soon as they got to know about the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Lord, they rejected the impersonal liberation. Kaivalyam narakayate. They accepted the form of the Lord. This is one Brahmavadi. They are simple, they are progress, Brahmavadi to Paramatma to Bhagavan, like that. That kind of. The second one is that some Brahmavadis, they take the help of the form in the beginning, but they are ultimately desired, they ultimately desire to get liberation only. So they are actually getting the body of a tree in Golok Vrindavan or Vaikuntha, in Shantaras. And the third and fourth Brahmavadis are Mayavadis. The third is, they don't accept any form of the Lord because they consider the form of the Lord to be human, manushim tanumashrita. Avajanati mam mudha manushim tanumashrita. So they consider to be Krishna to be the human form. And sometimes they are using the 5 form worship, Panchopasna. There are 5 different worship mentioned by Prabhupada and many other Panchopasna. There is Shaktya, Saurya, Ganapatya, Shaiva and Vaishnava. There are 5 followers, and they are using it only for temporary. They just use and throw. They don't want the format anyway. They consider the deity to be temporary. Oh, this is just for time being. They are condemned. They are not accepted. They are actually Mayavadis. And the fourth one, they themselves called Narayan. They think that they are Narayan. That everybody is Narayan. All of us are Narayan. But they accept somebody to be Narayan. Like Daridra Narayan. They say accept somebody to be Narayan. So that is fourth. The last two, they are condemned and rejected. They are fallen. They never got liberation. The other two, the first what we discussed, even though they are Brahmavadi, but they are accepted. They are impersonalist, but they are accepted in Krishna consciousness. Right? Okay, any other question? Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, in this, there is one verse, Aruhya Krishnena Parampadam Tata. So in the translation, Prabhupada writes that in the imagined position of superiority, they fall down. So that means they never go to Brahman.
There was one letter Prabhupada wrote to one disciple, because one disciple wanted to ask about the same to Prabhupada, that what shall we consider? They are fallen from Brahmajyoti, or they are never reached there. They never reached there. Prabhupada said there is no liberation without Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said that because they are not Krishna consciousness, they don't get liberation. That's why they are maninas. They think they are liberated, but they are not. So they are, and also, even though they are liberated, they go to Sayujya Mukti, but Sayujya Mukti is not accepted by Vaishnavas. Impersonal, not accepted by Vaishnavas. Why? Because anybody can fall from that mukti, from that state of consciousness. So that's not actually mukti. So aruya kuchrena param padam, even though they reach to that platform, patanti adha, they fall down. Just because they don't have Krishna consciousness. What is that? Na dhruta yushma dangraya. Because they don't have the attraction towards the lotus feet of the Lord. That's the problem with them. Okay, so no question?
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So if you could explain this second Brahmavadi again, those who become trees.
The second Brahmavadi is what we were discussing. They are respectful to Krishna, but they are more interested into liberation. They are mukti kami. They want liberation. But because they don't offend Krishna's form, they do respect Krishna's form, but Krishna is not the goal of their achievement. Their goal of achievement is to get liberation, and they have more faith into the impersonal form of the Lord. Or in other words, they are more attracted towards the effulgence of the Lord. No, they are more attracted. So they just want to stop birth and death. They just want to stop birth and death. They are fearful of the form, because in this much world they got bad experience of having forms, because they don't know how to utilize in Krishna conscious way. So they are not bhaktas, but because they are having a neutral attraction towards Krishna, therefore they are promoted to Dasya Bhakti, Santa Bhakti. Neutral attraction towards Krishna. So those trees, we were talking about, Krishna was saying, Balaram, it looks like these trees must be earlier impersonalists in their life, in their last life. So these are second types of Brahmavadis. So they were promoted to this. So they generally stand near some Yamuna, or they're just standing like this, all the time. Krishna comes, so you come and go. They are not bothered to serve Krishna. Maximum when Krishna comes close to them, they just give them some shadow and some, they just move their branches little bit. That's it. They are not much into directly serving Krishna. They don't want, because they don't want it. They are happy there, standing all the time. Like so many trees in Vrindavan. There are 5,000 years. Krishna came and Krishna left the planet. Right? Mahaprabhu came and Mahaprabhu left. But they are still there. Because they are not directly associating with the Lord in their physical activities. So therefore, they are given shantras. Of course, Vrindavan trees are kalpa vriksha. That it's not that they are rejected by the Lord. No, Krishna loves those trees. Krishna was very fond of trees. Otherwise, why would he go to forest? He was very fond of trees, and even many trees became the great acharyas of our parampara. Like Madhavendra Puri. He was a kalpa vriksha. But because he was, having the form of a tree in the spiritual planet, Golok Vrindavan, but because of Krishna's pastimes he has witnessed by his own, he is promoted to the higher rasa. So that is the reason.
And Prabhuji, just one thought is coming that what qualifies them to get trees in the first category also is attracted to impersonal, and the second category is also attracted to impersonal. Of course, they are having fear of the forms.
Yeah.
So that's so then how they are promoted to the place of where everything is form.
Because they have neutral attraction for Krishna. They have neutral attraction for Krishna. Even though they are attracted with the Krishna's effulgent form, but they don't disrespect the Lord. They do have attraction for Krishna, but in neutral way. So that neutral way is attraction towards his effulgence.
And the first category, Prabhuji, they achieve the impersonal Brahma Jyoti?
No.
Am I right?
No. First category, what we were discussing, is like Sukadeva Goswami. He become the parrot and four Kumaras and all. So they accept Krishna's form and they want to serve Krishna in different rasas like Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. They want to serve Krishna in that mood. So they are promoted to the higher rasas and planets. So therefore, the first category, Brahmavadi, they are directly promoted to the higher state of devotional service.
Thank you.
Yes. So it is 9:30, yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, sir.
You are nicely mentioning this point that at the perfectional stage we hear about the Lord. We like to hear about the Lord continuously. But at the sadhaka stage, there is a heating effect. We can't hear much because the capacity is not so much. So how this capacity will increase? By hearing more or by serving?
Both. Because, and if you don't hear and if you don't serve, then what will we do? We'll get victim of Maya. Therefore Prabhupada said, 16 rounds, no more less, but you have to spend your day in service. Because we are more into bodily platform. And bodily platform means sensual platform. We are directly influenced by the senses and demands of the senses. So until and unless we directly engage our senses in some practical services, we have 100% chance to get attracted by Maya. Therefore Prabhupada wanted that all the senses should be properly engaged. So we have so many services. Just imagine the deities are the main source of all the service. So our Goswamis, Rupa Goswami talked about 64 different limbs of devotional service, and most of them are centered around with the deities. So we can get attractions by gradual process of sadhana bhakti, engaging in the services, but at the same time hearing. Hearing is also part of that. Once somebody went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada ji, I want to, how do I improve my chanting? And Prabhupada said, by more chanting. In the same way, how can I improve my reading? By more reading. And how can I improve my hearing? By more hearing. But it should be gradual. That's all. What is that? Kama Krishna Karyarpane, Krodha Bhakta Dveshi Jane, Lobha Bhakta Sange Harikatha. Kama Krishna Karyarpane. How do you convert your lust? By engaging in Krishna's service. Your desires by engaging in Krishna's service. One. How do you convert your anger to exhibit on those who are offending, Bhakta Dveshi, devotees, Bhakta Dveshi Jane. And how you convert your greed? By Bhakta Sangve Harikatha. One should be greedy. Oh, there is some narration of Narsingha Katha. Let's go and hear. There is some Katha going on about, how Kapila Dev is talking to Devahuti Mata. Okay, go to there. Oh, there is a description of Vrindavan Dham. So the more we hear, we should be greedy for that. When a day will come when I will be sitting with all wonderful devotees and they will glorify Krishna and I will be here. I will be hearing them. So that is greed. That grit we have to develop. But again, it cannot be artificial. Like you start it today and then, okay, hearing is so important. Let us try it from today morning, and then mind will not help you. So it is better to engage ourselves. That's for sandwich program. Morning Bhagavatam, evening Bhagavad Gita. That's our sandwich program. And apart from that, we can hear some more if you wish. Right. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, sir.
Prabhuji, we hear about the destination of Brahma realized people to get merged into Brahma Jyoti. And Paramatma realized they are more advanced than Brahma realized people.
Yeah.
But their destination is on material platform, Siddhi only they get.
Right. Not destination, it is perfectional stage. There are certain outputs, the side effects of their process. There, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I think Bhaktivinoda Thakur has mentioned the flaws for the yogis. What happened at every stage, Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, all these 8 stages, what are the different problems they face. But in short, these siddhis are the allurement. If they are attracted by the siddhis, then they will not be able to get the samadhi avastha. Yeah. So samadhi avastha is mentioned, they are categorized in 3 ways: Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Some yogis want to merge into Brahman. Some yogis, they want to realize the form of the Lord in the heart, Paramatma. Some yogis, they want to get attracted by the outside Vaikuntha form of the Lord. Yeah. So then they take to Krishna consciousness. Then they become bhakta. And that is one sloka. It is said that Brahmavadi is something like, it is like, the water in the cloud. You cannot drink. Water is there in the cloud, but you can't drink. And Paramatmavadi, it is mentioned, the water underground. That also you cannot drink. But Bhagavanvadi, I mean, those who are devotees of the Lord, the water is just on your table. That you can easily drink. So that is their different approach. So even though they are Paramatmavadis, but they have liberty to choose what they want. They want to come back to Godhead, or they want to entangle by siddhis, or they want to entangle by Brahma Jyoti. Right.
So Prabhuji, Brahmavadis, they get merged into Brahma Jyoti.
Yeah.
So that is their final destination.
Yeah.
What is the final destination of a perfect Paramatmavadi?
Perfect Paramatmavadi, as I said, they have choice for choosing what they want. The Paramatmavadi, if you just say the second one, the Paramatmavadi, they meditate on the form of the Lord like Narad Muni. Narad Muni, he perfected by Siddhi, but because he was a devotee, so he converted himself to be the devotee. Like he saw the Lord in the heart, at the same time he saw the Lord, just after that he saw the Lord outside the heart. So Paramatmavadi, they get Vaikuntha planet. Because they cannot get to other rasas. So they get highest benediction, they get into Vaikuntha planet. And Brahmavadi, they get into Brahman effulgence, they get merged into Brahman effulgence. And Paramatmavadi, they can get maximum Vaikuntha planet. Yeah. Because Paramatmavadi, generally they either they decide to go to Vaikuntha planet, or they can decide to merge into Brahma effulgence. This both choice they have. Right? So we can get some more detail into that. Maybe sometime I can just go through more detail. Or any other devotee would like to comment on this? Yeah. Question or comment? Yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
Please correct my understanding if it is wrong, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
I heard somewhere that anyone who is very much interested in hearing the philosophy and he likes to hear much, but he doesn't personally like to serve the Lord by his senses. He likes Bhagavatam, everything, but he doesn't personally like to serve. He gets Santras.
Santras, yeah.
Is that a true statement?
Yeah, because he doesn't want to get involved in directly serving the Lord. But there is attraction towards the Lord, that is a neutral attractions. When we talk about the philosophical, so generally there are Jnana Yogis. The Jnana Yogis, they want to talk on philosophy, but they don't get process to Krishna consciousness. They don't get to the process of Krishna consciousness. So therefore, they get a neutral attraction and therefore they go to Santras. Yeah, that's true. Right? And of course, Paramatma, they also become Shantras. They can get Santras. Yes. If you want to end, okay, sorry. we have already over time, 9:40 time. We can ask personally. Okay. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada ki.